I'm Jo Sanwright Calendar, the author of the Happy Little Garbage Truck picture book, An Educational System. Let me get myself set up here. Okay, I'm excited, obviously. Forgot to plug in my headset to talk about the second part of yesterday's talk. Now, as many of you know, I wrote the Happy Little Garbage Truck picture book, An Educational System to teach children not only literacy skills, but also having and forming better self concepts and self esteem in particular. So, along those lines, yesterday I began a conversation, which is actually the third part of our developing a healthy self concept conversation, where I was talking about how it takes work to develop a healthy self concept. And as I was thinking, I said, this is really hard to relay because it's sort of, it takes, there are a lot of components to it. And so trying to distill it was a little difficult, but I thought about it again and wrote these notes. First of all, I believe that who we really are, which was my topic yesterday, is a combination. And that's what makes it kind of difficult to describe. There are so many component parts. We have our family DNA, background, how we were raised, nurture versus nature, our personalities, which I believe we have at birth, experiences that shape that personality, a belief system that comes out of those experiences, and key people who actually influence our lives, whether they be in our lives or uh, through their experiences that we read about or see in film. So now our mindset grows from each of these and it forms either a favorable or positive mindset about ourselves or an unfavorable or negative mindset about ourselves. So it kind of just boils down to our thinking. And our thinking actually creates who we are. And that manifests itself into what we do and who we eventually become. So that's why self concept is extremely important. And it's sort of difficult to unravel. At the same time, it is doable. So I thought about it. And, many people will need trained counselors to kind of walk them through the steps of how to take charge of their lives and leave one point to get to another. And it's sort of a complicated journey, but there are examples of people who did this transition, this transformation of their lives that we can read about and see in film. And they got from that stuck place because they had a desire to move out of that place into a higher, better version of themselves. Because change is possible and it all begins in our minds. Sorry about that noise. So I mentioned the other day that there were some thoughts that I had of examples of this change of mindset. And these examples, there's so many of them, but I have two to share today. Are there people who are either on their own made this change or they were influenced by very key people in their lives. The first one that I'd like to mention is David Goggins. And this guy is a retired Navy SEAL chief. But I saw his story. A girlfriend of mine relayed this information to me, and I started looking at his YouTubes. So he pretty much changed his life from coming from a poor family background. I think it was a broken family, where his mother and father got divorced, I believe, but don't quote me on that. And he transformed himself from an overweight bug exterminator to become what many believe to be the only man who completed Navy SEAL training, U.S. Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Control training. And it's an incredible guy. How he talks about his journey, what it took, one step at a time, and it's just interesting viewing. The second person, oh, and he has a book out. The second person that comes to mind is JD Vance, and my husband and I watched the other day the Hillbilly Elegy, and this is a recent film which was up for Glenn Close for Academy Award. She did an excellent job, but it showed how a child raised in poverty, again, poor parent supervision, again, whose grandmother influenced him and changed his trajectory. So, reading biographies, watching films about people who face difficult challenges, and put forth some inspirational um, transformation are things that we can watch and be inspired by and see how hard work actually can make a change. Perseverance. They took each of these people, and I'll mention another one tomorrow, took themselves from the at risk category that people had placed them in to dig down, and they dug deeply into their spirits and saw themselves as winners, basically, to get themselves to that better self image and continue the steps to make that transformation from the inside to the outside. And it was just basically their desire to become more. So, by looking at these examples and digging deeply into our own self esteem, is how we can teach life skills to children that would build up their self esteem and self concept. So, I think that as we encourage ourselves and children to see themselves as more, that encouragement is what begins the process. So, I hope to talk with you tomorrow. Please subscribe, please share, and thank you for being with me today. Bye bye.